Every blazer sleeve in your closet hits past your knuckles. Every trouser rise sits 2 inches above your natural waist. And every shoulder seam lands somewhere it was never supposed to be. Most brands that stamp petite on the tag only shorten the hem. That is not engineering. That is a pair of scissors. But there are 8 brands that actually rebuild the pattern from the inside out. 2 of them are names you already know from this channel. And the company behind both of them has changed in ways you should know about before you buy. The industry counts on you not knowing the difference between a real petite pattern and a regular one with a shorter hem. So, here's the difference. Petite is a proportion, not a size. You can be a size 2P or a size 18P. Genuine petite engineering requires 5 separate pattern changes. A shorter rise, so the crotch seam is not floating 2 inches below your actual body. A shorter torso, so the waistline sits at your natural waist instead of on your rib cage. Narrower shoulders, so the seam does not hang off your frame like a coat rack. Repositioned darts and bust points, so the shaping sits where your body actually curves. And raised details, meaning pockets, knee breaks, and hem placement all move to where they belong on a shorter frame. Most department store petite sections apply one of those. Maybe 2. We tested each brand against all 5. Number 1. NYDJ. NYDJ stands for Not Your Daughter's Jeans, and the name tells you who they had in mind. The brand was founded in 2003 by a group of women who realized nobody was building flattering denim for mature bodies. Not trendy bodies, not runway bodies. Bodies that had lived a few decades and changed along the way. Their petite line runs from 00P to 18P. The inseams sit between 28 and 30 inches, and the rise is proportioned for a shorter torso. Inside the denim, there is a proprietary lift-tuck panel, a crisscross slimming structure that flattens the front and contours the back without you feeling like you are wearing a medical device. They also carry curvy petite, which solves the smaller waist to wider hip ratio that a lot of women over 50 deal with and most brands pretend does not exist. On the 5-adjustment test, NYDJ handles rise, torso, and detail placement. Shoulders are not a factor in denim, so 3 out of the relevant 3. The catch. The brand recommends sizing down, and reviewers confirm that sizing varies between styles. The same number in a Maryland straight does not match a Sherry Slim, and the price runs $100 to $139 per pair at full retail, which is real money. But check Nordstrom Rack and 6PM first. The same jeans show up there for $40 to $60 if you are not in a rush. These are the jeans a woman tries on at Nordstrom and then quietly orders 3 more washes from her phone before she takes them off. NYDJ solved the denim problem. But most petite women are not just looking for jeans. Number 2. Nick and Zoe. This is a brand most of you have never heard of, which is exactly why it belongs on this list. Nick and Zoe has been making petite-friendly knits, structured tops, and stretch trousers for 20 years. They are independently owned, no private equity holding company, no conglomerate parent, no silent partner running the same cost reduction playbook across 6 different labels. Their Wonder Stretch pant is the piece reviewers keep coming back to. Petite proportions that fit without needing a tailor. The fabrics have enough structure to smooth without clinging, and the brand designs with the midsection and upper arms of women over 40 in mind, not as an afterthought, as the starting point. Against those 5 checks, their petite pieces adjust torso, rise, and detail placement. The price is where it gets interesting. A knit top retails for $78 to $158, but check Nordstrom Rack and 6PM before you order from the main site. That $158 sweater shows up there for $47 more often than the brand probably wants you to know. This is the brand your friend is wearing when you ask where she found that top, and she spells it out twice because you have never seen it in a store. Number 3, Petite Studio. And this is the one the title is about. Petite Studio was founded in 2016 by Jenny Wang Howell, a 5'2" woman in New York who was done asking the same question every petite woman has asked at least 100 times. Why does nothing fit? She did not start a petite section inside a bigger brand. She did not license a name or partner with a department store. She built the first independent clothing brand designed exclusively for petite women. Every single piece is designed from the ground up on real petite fit models. The design team is petite. The fit models are petite. There is no regular pattern to start from. There never was. The design studio is in New York. They source fabrics from the same mills as high-end luxury labels. Small-run curated collections in wool, silk, and premium cotton. Not fast fashion, not seasonal filler. Pieces built to earn a permanent spot in a closet. Every adjustment we talked about earlier, rise, torso, shoulders, darts, detail placement, Petite Studio passes all 5 on every piece, because the entire operation begins and ends with a petite body. But here is where it costs you. Price runs $150 to $350 per piece, and there is no department store shelf space. This is direct-to-consumer only. You will not stumble across it at Nordstrom or Macy's. They do run seasonal sales and mark down past season pieces on their own site, so sign up for the email list before you buy at full price. The reason most petite women have never heard of this brand has nothing to do with quality. It has everything to do with who controls the shelf space and the advertising budget. And it is not brands like this one. The woman who finds Petite Studio for the first time does the same thing every time. She orders one piece, puts it on, and stands in front of the mirror for a moment, because she has never felt a shoulder seam land exactly where her shoulder ends. If Petite Studio is the brand nobody told you about, the next one is the brand you have probably already seen us talk about. Number 4. Quince. If you watched our linen video, you already know this name. Quince is the brand that makes the entire markup conversation embarrassing for the competition. Direct to consumer, no retail stores, no wholesale middlemen, no celebrity campaigns. You pay for the fabric and the labor, not the billboard on Fifth Avenue. For petite women, the story is a little more nuanced. Quince does not carry a full dedicated petite line with separate pattern blocks. What they do carry is a selection of tops, knits, and sweaters that run petite-friendly because the cuts are already proportioned shorter. Their cashmere sweaters have become a staple for petite wardrobes. One version in particular, the shrunken cashmere sweatshirt, fits a shorter torso without alterations. At around $50 for 100% Mongolian cashmere, the math works the same way we talked about before. Same mills as brands charging 4 times that price. The limitation is practical. Dresses and midi-length pieces run too long for most women under 5'2". This is not a brand that solves the complete petite wardrobe. It solves specific pieces at a price that makes you wonder what the other brands are doing with the difference. The cashmere does not know which cash register you swiped your card at. It just wants to keep you warm. Imagine walking into Talbot's or Ann Taylor next weekend and knowing in 60 seconds whether the petite blazer you are holding has the same construction it had 5 years ago, or whether it is the same label stitched onto a thinner garment by a different owner. That is what my brand guide does. 85 brands, scored and ranked. The link is in the description or scan the QR code on screen right now. The next 4 brands include one we recommended before that is worth every dollar at the right price, one that covers the basics better than you expect, and 2 names that are going to sound very familiar if you have been watching this channel. The company behind both of them showed up in 2 of our previous videos, and the fit story and the quality story are no longer telling the same version of events. Number 5. Eileen Fisher. If you watched our linen video, this recommendation will not surprise you. Eileen Fisher uses 100% organic linen dyed to Blue Sign Environmental Standards certified as a B Corporation. Longtime customers report wearing the same Eileen Fisher linen pieces for a decade or more, and the fabric only gets softer. That is what happens when the fiber and construction actually support the lifespan instead of just the price tag. For petite women, the critical point is this. Eileen Fisher's silhouettes are naturally oversized and architectural. If you skip the petite version, you will disappear inside an Eileen Fisher blouse like you fell into a very expensive linen sleeping bag. In the petite, the proportions snap into place and the look goes from drowning to intentionally relaxed. The petite versions adjust torso, shoulders, and length. Retail prices run $128 to $328 per piece. But here is the strategy. Buy Eileen Fisher through their own Renew resale program, Nordstrom Rack, ThredUp, or Poshmark. A blouse that retailed at $228 shows up for $75 to $90, and it has years of life left because the linen was built to endure. A garment that lasts long enough to be resold twice has already paid for itself by the time you pass it on. Eileen Fisher is the investment piece. The next brand is the opposite end of that conversation. Number 6. Land's End. The brand that nobody gets excited about and everybody should own at least 3 pieces from. Land's End carries a deep petite line across categories: swimwear, outerwear, layering basics, and their Supima cotton tees and tanks are genuinely opaque and proportioned for a shorter frame. At under $20 for a tank that does not require a camisole underneath, the value conversation is short. The basics hold up. Rise, length, and torso. Proportions in their knits and tees are solid. Where it falls short is sleeves and consistency. Some petite sleeves, especially on outerwear, still run long. And the fit can be inconsistent between production runs. You might order the same pant in 2 colors and get 2 slightly different proportions. For basics and layering pieces, the math works. This is the brand a woman orders 3 tanks from in May and forgets she is wearing them all summer because nothing rides up, nothing goes sheer, and nothing requires a second layer underneath just to leave the house. Number 7. Talbots. Now for the complicated ones. And if you have been watching this channel, you already know where this is going. Talbots carries what is still, on paper, one of the most complete petite lines in the country. Proportioned for 4'11" to 5'4". One of the only brands offering petite plus in sizes 14 WP through 24 WP. Their petite pattern block adjusts shoulders, rise, torso, sleeves, and detail placement. All 5. That is rare. But if you watched our video on 8 brands that were quietly replaced with cheaper versions, or our video on linen brands to avoid, you know what happened here. Sycamore Partners acquired Talbots in 2012 for $391 million. They now sit under a holding company called Knitwell Group alongside Ann Taylor, Loft, Chico's, White House Black Market, and Soma. 6 brands. 1 owner. Most shoppers have never heard the name Knitwell in their lives. The petite fit engineering survived that acquisition. The proportions are still among the best available anywhere. But the fabric quality did not always keep pace. Thinner linings, more synthetic blends where wool used to be. Stitching that a longtime customer with decades of design education called dreadful compared to what Talbots used to deliver. So here is the honest call. Talbots' petite proportions are worth shopping for. But check the fabric label before you buy, and wait for the friends and family sale or the end-of-season clearance. Talbots runs 30 to 70% off events regularly, and the petite clearance section online goes deeper than what you see in the store. At those prices, the proportions are worth it even when the fabric is not what it was 10 years ago. The fit remembers who it was. The fabric does not always agree. Number 8. Ann Taylor. Same caveat, different brand, same owner. Ann Taylor carries petite in 00P to 18P with both regular and curvy fits. The curvy option is genuinely useful if you have a smaller waist and wider hips, because most petite lines pretend that combination does not exist. Their petite construction adjusts bust, waist, and hip proportions, not just length. The online selection is vastly larger than what you see in the store, which is worth knowing because the in-store petite rack is usually a single corner near the back. The proportions score 4 of 5. Rise, torso, shoulders, and dart placement. Some dresses still run long even in petite. But the same story applies. Sycamore Partners, Knitwell Group, fabrics that used to be wool blends showing up as polyester rayon, linings that disappeared from skirts that always had them. We covered this before. The blazer from 2015 and the blazer from last year carry the same label. They are not the same garment. Shop the proportions, check the label, and never pay full price because Ann Taylor's 40 to 50% off sales run so frequently that the original price is mostly a number on the tag so the sale price feels like a win. The shoulder seam still lands exactly where it should. Whether what the shoulder seam is sewn into is worth the price is the question the label does not answer for you. And then there are the two that did not make the list. J. Jill was built on linen and comfort for women over 55. We covered the quality decline in our linen video. Longtime customers, women who shopped there for 25 years, are writing reviews that read like breakup letters. The brand grew too fast for its own standards, and now it is pushing cropped lengths and trendy cuts that the core customer did not ask for and does not want. And Chico's, which had one of the most thoughtful petite sizing systems in the industry with its own numbering and dedicated proportions, is now under the same Sycamore Knitwell ownership. Customers are already reporting thinner fabrics and shrinking selection. Both brands still carry petite sizes, but the product inside the label is not what it was when the label earned your trust. So here's the full picture. 8 brands. 3 of them passed all 5 petite fit adjustments: Petite Studio, Talbots, and Eileen Fisher. The rest passed 3 or 4. What separates the top of this list from the bottom is not the proportions. It is whether the company behind the label still puts the same quality into the fabric that they put into the fit. The fashion industry designed a standard for one body and charged every other body to fix it. These 8 brands, in different ways and at different price points, started with the body instead. Go to your closet right now and check the shoulder seam on your favorite top. Does it land on your shoulder or past it? And tell us in the comments which brand made it, because I have a feeling most of those answers are going to be brands where the fit was the last thing they thought about. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.